Welcome to Alive with Amin. We are all aware of the word cancer, especially breast cancer. Some of us or some of you are directly affected by it, and some of us are indirectly affected by it. And it could be a friend, a family member, or a brother or sister. Somebody has a cancer, and you know how the family gets affected altogether. And there are many organizations around the world that raise money for the research for breast cancer. But there are some organizations that raise money for the care of the patients. Today in our studio, we have Jerry Charles from Crystal Gala Foundation, and she will talk about and let us know what her foundation does for the betterment of the patients for breast cancer. Welcome, Jerry.
Nice to be here. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to talk about breast cancer treatment and how we fundraise for it.
Well, it's our honor to have you here because I heard a lot about you and I have been to a few of your events and I've been helping out too, but it's something I think the audience and everybody need to know how this foundation came to being and where it started and where it is now. So talk about how this foundation came into being. How did the idea came through?
We started in 1999. We're just a group of women around a kitchen table getting boardroom results. We don't have any overhead. As Amin has sort of alluded to, we're a little bit special and different in that way. All volunteers, no staff, no office space. If we don't do it, it doesn't happen. And we have been very fortunate over the past 21 years to have many, many sponsors who've come on board and stayed with us. We have volunteers who have been on our board from the beginning, which is quite amazing. And the community has really embraced us. One of the things I think that makes us special and unique is that we spend the money in community. And it gives us a chance to respond to where the needs are, which is very personal.
Yes. In 1999, when you came up with this idea, because when I was reading, and I know that it was just a group of women who came just to want to do fundraising for breast cancer. And 21 years later, and it's still going. So when you started this at that time, what were your thoughts?
Oh my goodness. The first piece of equipment I think we bought was $40,000. It went to the former Abbotsford Hospital, and it was something called a transducer probe, looking for lumps and dense tissue. And if you remember what a dot matrix printer connector looked like, that's what this $40,000 piece of equipment looked like. And it had a long cable that went into a computer the size of a Volkswagen. And that was the first piece of equipment we bought. And if Abbotsford hadn't had Crystal Gala at that time, if we hadn't had those funds, that equipment wouldn't have existed at the Abbotsford Hospital. And that's our difference maker. Is that we know that if we don't buy it, if we don't make that investment, it may not happen in your community. We have bought similar equipment for Mission Hospital, Langley Hospital, Chilliwack, and Abbotsford in the early days.
In the early days. See, that's where I am coming from, that they buy the fundraisers that are the Crystal Gala Foundation do, there's no overhead cost. So any money that's raised in that event or during the year goes directly towards the serving the patients, and that could be buying the equipment for the hospitals. And my next question is, when you to start any foundation, there's always some challenges.
Oh, yes.
Right. So highlight, because I think it's important to know that nothing comes easy. So what were the challenges that you faced or the committee faced in the early years?
When we first began, we actually funneled our funds through the Canadian Breast Cancer Foundation. And because we didn't know any better, it seemed like the right thing to do. But when we, as a committee, determined that what we really wanted to do was keep the dollars local and be able to direct them to the need of our people so that our sisters, mothers, friends could benefit from that. So after 4 years, we actually stopped working with that agency and we became the Crystal Gala Foundation. And so that was the beginning of our society, yes.
So, and your first pledge was in 2010.
Yes.
To the Abbotsford Regional Hospital when that came into being.
So The new Abbotsford Regional Hospital and Cancer Center opened in 2008, and we gave a $500,000.
Donation to them.
Yes, it was actually a campaign pledge
Okay.
for the campaign for healthcare. So that $500,000 was followed up 3 years later, with another $500,000. And since we started doing Crystal Gala fundraisers, we've raised $2.7 million. And it's all stayed local. It's all stayed in the Lower Mainland.
Lower Mainland. Well, you know, I mean, 2.9 million, 2.6 or 2.7 million dollars raised by the group of women who meet at the kitchen table, devote their time and for the betterment. And I'm pretty sure everybody have their own lives, their own full-time job, and they put this time on the side to raise this money.
Yes.
So what other events do you do during the years to raise money? How does the reason I'm asking, so that people who want to be part of the Crystal Gala, want to support Crystal Gala, how they can support Crystal Gala?
There are some special fundraisers that different community groups do for us. So for an example, anywhere from a lemonade stand to Clearbrook Ironworks. And Clearbrook Ironworks has given us $280,000, I think, in the last 6 years. And what they do is they are an employer who's trying to teach their employees to give back, and they match. So they start out with seed money, and then they match any donations that their staff make, their customers, and their suppliers. So like you may be aware, this year, I think it was another $35,000.
Yes.
And that's a family-run business. Alvin and Karen Unger and their son Corey, they walk the talk. They give back to the community. Their staff feel good about it. Their suppliers feel good about it. So that's one. Sun Hang Do did a women's course, for how to protect themselves, defensive, and they gave the dollars to us. Studio B Yoga gave a few sessions for their anniversary, and all the proceeds came to Crystal Gala. So that's how, and Run Zen just recently, right? Parallel Yoga and the Abbotsford Trail Running Club. They do a run, and then they do yoga afterwards out in the park, and they give the funds to Crystal Gala Foundation. So this is not just about us girls doing things. Our community is supporting us. And we have probably 60 sponsors that have been giving us a sponsorship every year, plus the donations for silent auction, live auction, prizes. We have quite a community. We are well loved. People want to give back to their community in this way.
So you want to talk about because I walked to the Abbotsford Hospital, you have the naming rights for the Crystal Breast Health Unit. If you want to just a little bit talk about that, when you walk in the hospital, and how can you see that in the tiles?
Sure, I will. So because of that $1 million that we were able to give right at the beginning, 2007, 2010, we got naming rights for the screening mammography clinic in the Abbotsford Regional Hospital. So that's on the second floor. Then in 2015, we co-funded a space called the Abbotsford Breast Health Unit. And they're on the concourse on the main floor. And we have this beautiful wall of tiles. It actually is in the shape of a ribbon, a pink breast cancer ribbon. And there, either our sponsors or people from the community who would like to just make a donation and get a tax receipt for that donation. And I can talk a little bit more about that. But we have this beautiful wall with all these community supporters' names on it. Something from, in loving memory of my mother to, just a family plaque, or maybe it has their business name on it. Different people have a different way of expressing their love.
Yes.
And so we're happy to be part of that.
Yes, and I mean, in the back of us, you will see the wall behind us. So that's the wall that was behind us, that Crystal Gala Foundation, where you can get a tile and you can sponsor or get a tax receipt. It's $1,000 a tile, and you can have your name forever on that wall.
That's right.
Yes. And what, other than the fundraiser, talk about what is the expectations from the team when you get together and you talk about raising money? what are the expectations that every year you have a budget, or is just whatever the gala, or something like, for example, last year the new machine was bought.
That's right.
Yeah.
So usually our needs drive our goals. So last year, Abbotsford Hospital, our brand new hospital, is 12 years old almost. And so the diagnostic mammography unit, the actual machine, is starting to limp, and he needs to be replaced. He's a he. I'm not sure how that works.
Yeah.
And then just coincidentally, so will the screening mammography machine need to be replaced eventually. But last year, the Crystal Gala Foundation, the committee, we determined that we would put our money where our heart is, and we signed up for $725,000 new mammography machine for diagnostics. And we put down half the money last year. We will pay the difference this year, because I think it'll be installed by the end of this year. Hopefully in November. That would be good.
Wow.
Yes.
So it's all volunteer work, driven by the community.
Yeah.
$725,000 just bought the mammography machine for Abbotsford Hospital.
Yes.
So what's next?
Well, we just had a tour of the lab at Abbotsford Regional Hospital with, I don't know how many workers are in there. They're up on the 4th floor. They never get to see the public, right? Because they're working on the nitty gritty. But one of their tissue processing machines has gone down, and they have 3. So that means that their capacity would be down by 30%. So they came to us and asked if we would possibly consider buying this new tissue processing machine, and we've agreed to. And that's $185,000. And then we got another little request. It's called a neoprobe, and it's for staging the cancer before surgery. And that was $60,000. So you can see that the wish list kind of drives our fundraising, because now we're goal oriented. If that need needs to be satisfied, then we'll go ahead and do that. We'll find a way, and our supporters will help us.
So basically, the hospital will come down and say what is needed in the hospital, and then as the committee, they will look forward that how we can serve our patients better,
That's right.
because that's exactly what it is. Like, we are serving the patients directly.
And to your point, sometimes the need is
Saturdays at 1:30 p.m., Alive with Aman brings you important conversations with leaders in our communities.
So a couple of years ago, we bought a picture archiving system for Langley Memorial Hospital, and that was $50,000. Because when we may be in Abbotsford, but your employees or your friends may be, or your sister might be at Langley Hospital, and she needs to be looked after. We've had many requests, and we try to look after them all. But mostly, what we're trying to make sure is that our patients get care at home. We don't want to add stress by having them go a long distance to drive away, maybe have to look after childcare, maybe pay a driver. We want them to have that care at home.
So I was looking into it. It's not that you Crystal Gala Foundation serves the patients from Fraser Valley, but I think it comes from up north too, like because that's the only closest cancer center they have. So you mean you are serving patients from all the way up Kamloops, Kelowna, and
Well, mostly, I think most of our patients come sort of from Hope and east or westward.
Yeah.
But it happens very often.
Yeah.
The girls will tell us that someone needs to have care while they're getting treatment. And so they may be coming from Kamloops because they have a sister here who can help look after their kids or whatever the needs are. But you're right. We don't have boundaries. We can serve anyone in British Columbia, and we do.
Yeah. Yes. And tell me about how can they contact directly the breast health unit for their, like they don't need a referral.
No, that's right.
Yes.
I thought you were going to ask me their telephone number.
No,
I
don't know. No, we can always tell that on the screen what the telephone, but I want audience to know that you don't need a doctor's referral because I think that's a big thing because
it's a difference maker.
It's a difference
You're
maker.
Right. You don't actually, if one day when you're doing a self-exam, and we want people to do a self-exam, especially the young ones, because it's not usual. It's not normal that young people are diagnosed with breast cancer. But if you find that you feel something, we will let you know what the number is, but you can self-refer.
Yeah.
And they will get you in as quickly as they can. They are very service-oriented. They want to make sure that you're not spending the next 3 weeks or 4 weeks in fear, adding stress to already trouble that may be going on in your body. So that is important.
That is
the self-referral.
Self-referral is important because I will just say from my experience that I have a family, like my mom had breast cancer, but as a child, I wanted to make sure I'm diagnosed on time, don't want to be late. And I could not get a doctor's referral to do that. And I called the Abbotsford Hospital and they took me in and, before 40, you can get it done. It was I would say 8 years ago, but it was done. So how can you get involved in Crystal Gala Foundation?
Oh, well, there's lots of ways to get involved. From donating a prize for some of our fundraising games to being a sponsor. We have all different levels. This year our presenting sponsor is Rev Investments, and they have an opportunity to actually have some podium time and some space in the program, as do other sponsors too, but presenting sponsor is pretty special. A lot of our sponsors, as I may have mentioned before, have been with us for 20 years.
Yes.
And they grow and change with us. So we're part of their business plan. In fact, Andrew Bracewell, our realtor, he said, Crystal Gala is part of my business plan. I write you into my expenses. I know exactly what I'm going to do for the year, and Crystal Gala is right there. Mm-hmm. You're part of it. Then, of course, there's the tile sales, and we will focus on that at the gala this year. But anyone can call at any time or go to crystalgala.com.
Crystalgala.com.
And on our website, there's a place to do a donation, and with that $1,000 or more donation comes a tax receipt as well as the tile that's on display at Abbotsford Regional Hospital. Yes.
So if somebody wants to attend the gala, are the tickets still available?
We have a few left. We do.
So you need to go on the website or email them at crystalgala.ca or info@crystalgala.com. Info at crystalgala.ca if you need some tickets, and they have some tickets left.
Yes.
And
bring a party. Bring your friends. We do tables of 8, tables of 10. Mm-hmm. It's always more fun to do this with other people.
So tell us what to expect at the night of the gala.
Well, we can't give it all up.
I know, but I mean your team and then just anybody who has never been to the event and what can they expect that? Because they probably have been to a lot of fundraisers, but I've been to a few of I've been at the galas and I know it's very different from the other fundraisers. So I think the audience needs to know what do they expect and how it's different.
Well, this year's theme is disco, so get your boogie on. We're ready to dance. Mm-hmm. Of course, there will be entertainment to go with that. And we have a live band. We have a DJ. We don't want to give it all away because you want to be surprised when you get there. We have a themed drink. So there's a welcome beverage and then the silent auction, the games that we play, the fundraising games with some fabulous prizes. Fabulous. I think there's a prize from John Gelderman Real Estate. It's a trip for two to New York for 4 days.
Wow.
That's one of our big prizes. You know, there's some pretty great things going on. Then we go into dinner. There's appetizers, dinner, and then, of course, there'll be a little bit of the meat and potatoes of the event where we have to talk about the business we're in, the cause, and what we're doing to help make sure that people in our community are well served. Talk a little bit about the investments that we're making for Abbotsford Regional Hospital, and then we dance.
Then you dance.
Then we
And
dance.
when is the Crystal Gala?
October 26th,
October 26th,
and it'll be at TradeX.
at TradeX in Abbotsford.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now, coming from the gala, because I just want to kind of highlight and talk about the gala girls, we call the gala girls, how their families involved. Because I think when you are on a committee or you're volunteering your time, you do have to have a support from the family. So how does, if you want to highlight on that?
Oh my goodness. Yes. Crystal Gala is a team sport. Our kids are there helping us set up and decorate. One year they're all helping us make those enormous tissue flowers for a wall feature that we did, a decor feature. The husbands have built, when we were at the hotel still, they built a pub for London Calling. They built a log cabin for We Are Canadian. There was another one. Oh, an Italian wall.
Wall, that's right.
I think they built the Italian wall on the Sunday of Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And then afterwards they sat together and had a Thanksgiving dinner. All the guys and the children and the wives. Like it is a team sport. It's love and it's caring, and we are bonded by this big job. It's a big job to do, but it makes us stronger. It makes us feel really good about our community and our families.
Well, because talking about the kids, I remember when my son had a project at the school to do project on picking up a non-government organization, and he came up and he picked Crystal Gala Foundation, and he did win the first prize in grade 6 for doing and it was interesting because I remember him interviewing you on these questions, because in the questions he was asking, and it was very touching because my mom passed away of breast cancer, and why he wants to do it on this because of me, my mom, and I thought that was because over the years they saw how breast cancer affects not just the first generation as my mom, but as a second generation. For him, it was like I never got to see my grandma. Right? For him, it was a big, and it does. And that's why I said breast cancer is not, the person who's going through is separate, but people, the family, what they go through, and the generation after, what they feel, not seeing them, it actually affects, a ripple effect to 2-3 generations.
Absolutely. Yeah. Even your workplace.
Yes.
When you have colleagues that are afflicted by any kind of cancer, you have to rally around them. It changes the DNA of your organization and really shows how we can care for one another.
Exactly. So what else you want to tell our audience about the foundation that I missed? And I just want, it is, first of all, it's a non-profit organization. There's no overhead cost. I think that just blew my mind away, because there's nobody paying for, there's nobody getting paid. It's all volunteer.
Saturdays at 1:30 p.m., Alive with the Mon brings you important conversations with leaders in our communities.
Not have that stigma, men talking about breast cancer. So we need to break that cycle and openly. And if the doctor, sometimes I think, like you said, doctors don't look into that direction
Well,
either.
it's not very common.
It's not very common, yeah.
And if you were to look down a list of the things that the doctor wants to be looking after, the breast cancer wouldn't necessarily be at the top, right?
Yes.
So we want to make sure that they know to self-refer.
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
So now I want to turn the tables on you. You've been very humble, but Aman, you've been on the Crystal Gala Foundation committee for
14 years.
14 years.
Yes.
In fact, didn't you have one of your babies practically at the gala?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And my second one. And I found I was pregnant while being on the committee. And I just had them the same year. I was next year. Yes.
Yeah. And you're a sponsor.
I'm a sponsor.
Your husband and your children support us and help out with all the setup and the takedown.
And the takedown, I don't think they have a choice.
No.
They don't have a choice because they know that, like I said, for me as a sponsor, as being a part of the committee and being an individual, I know where my money is going. Because it's very important, your hard-earned money, need to know where it's going. Because we work very hard. So that gives me satisfaction because every penny or every hard work we did, the money going to the right cause, it's actually helping and saving somebody's life or making their life comfortable.
Right. We're not paying someone's telephone
we are not.
bill. We're
exactly.
not paying a hydro bill.
Well, exactly. Well, thank you, Jerry, for joining us today. And thank you for coming and talking about Crystal Gala Foundation, a foundation that I thrive to be a part of, that I'm blessed to be a part of. And as long as I know I will be a part of it. And it's something that you feel that you're giving to a community and you're serving at a higher level. And the audience, if you like to buy tickets, please go on our website at crystalgala.ca and tickets are still available. And I'd like to thank you for coming here. And,
my pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, spending some time with us today and talking about the foundation. Thank you.